I'm excited to share with you a little bit today about my journey and the time that I have and what really brings me here today. So I'd like to start with a story. And my story begins on August 10th, 2020. On that Monday morning, I woke up out of bed at 4:30 in the morning, walked over to the bathroom sink, and I put my hands on the counter, and I stared in the mirror, and I asked myself just one question. Jason, would I follow you? Do that for the very first time. And I wish somebody would have walked into my life at a much younger age and would have told me this, because we know this principle to be true, but yet, for some reason, we run, don't we? I see a lot of heads shaking. Or we do what? We stay, and we let that thing ruin us. There's many of them in this room right now. They're going to have to walk out these doors and ask for forgiveness and love and realize that the bear is not just about grinding it out, but it's about being honest. And so the moment of time I have with you here this morning, I wanted to be real and honest with you. And I wanted to share with you specific tools on how I've spent the last 3.5 years of my life fighting my bear, because I'm proud of the person I am today. And I'm excited about the person I'm becoming, because for the very first time I'm stepping in who I was designed to be. How's that sound? Awesome. So, hopefully you got pens out. If not, everyone's got a phone. So let's take some notes, because I do want to share with you some practical tools on how to do it. The very first thing is this. It's all about the law of subtraction, folks. The very first, we only have so much time, energy, and resources in our lives. Correct? And so we run around life, and everyone says to do more of this, when in reality, there's only so much capacity that we all have. So the first part of that exercise that you have to do on a daily basis is you have to remove the things that don't belong. You have to examine your life and say, well, if that's the mountaintop, then I got to understand what needs to go first, so that I can then create what? The space for the things that need to be there. So simple, so true, but yet we choose not to do that. Don't do more, folks. Do less. Do less with great purpose. So when I think of the bear, I'm like, okay, well, what of that needs to be removed out of my life, Gil? So guess what? I can now create the space for the things that need to be there. That is the number one tool you have to start at, because I promise you this. Anyone ever started a diet before? Come on, folks. Anybody? Yes, we have, right? It's January. We're like, here we go. We got a big five. We get our shoes. We get our shorts. And some of us are bold enough to get the tank tops, right? Like, here we go. We're doing it. And like 2 weeks out, we're like, yeah, tomorrow I'm tired. I'm kind of sore, headed, and so on. Because I didn't do the work on removing really what sat in the way. Okay. So you might say, Jason, that's great. I've heard that before. But how do I begin to how do I process that forward? This was shared with me as one of the most powerful tools that changed my life. It's the following. Is this regret. Every night before I go to bed, guess what I do? I reflect on my day and I focus on what do I regret. Meaning, you know what? I probably did a little too much of that, or I didn't do what? Enough of this. Phone calls. I could have done another push-up. Hey, you know what? I was kind of rude to my wife. I could have been more gentle. I could have been more kind. It's the feedback loop. Listen to me, folks. This is the feedback loop. That you have to, in order to fight your bear, I have to do what first? Somebody. I got to recognize it. I have to see it for what it is. And so if you're not willing to be honest with yourself, then change is never going to happen. You will never be the person that you were designed to be. So you have to be honest with yourself. And there's only two forms of regret. The things I did do, and you know what has a longer term effect? The things somebody finished, I did not do. According to Cornell University, when they look at people's lives, the short term is the things I did do, but the long term is, you know what, I wish I would have picked up the phone. You know what, I wish at that moment in my life, I would have started that. I wish I would have ventured out. I dare you. Hear my words. I dare you for the next 30 days to do this. You will not be the same person 30 days from now. I dare you. It's an awesome tool. So as I do that at night, the other 2 weeks ago, I was kind of rude to my wife. I don't know if anyone in relationships that can happen. Yeah, and I did that. And so I was like, I've gotten in such a habit, I woke her up. I'm like, hey, honey. I'm like, hey, I just want you to know I'm really sorry. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. She's like, I am sleeping right now. I love you. What are you doing? And she's like, can we just talk about this in the morning? I'm like, no, but I want to talk about it right now because this is right there. You know, so, but I'm sharing with you personally, guess what? You'll recognize your bearing. So then when I wake up in the morning, the next tool is gratitude. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that I have the ability to stand on the stage. I'm grateful to start new relationships with people in this room. I'm grateful for the lives that are going to be changed today. This is how I engine my day. Right here, regret and gratitude. The two most powerful tools that when you combine them on a daily basis, I promise you this, you're going to see what needs to go out of your life. You're going to recognize your bear. You're going to realize, I know more of this and more of this. And the third tool is the following. It's courage. I love this picture. This fireman staring at a wall of fire and realizes he's literally what? Called into it. So do you have the courage? Do you have the courage to face your bear? Do you have the courage to do it now? Because that's what it takes. To me, you know what courage looks like? Man, I'm so sorry. Can you forgive me? Because for me, as I stood up here and admitted a few minutes ago, it was really hard when I'm telling you guys, I got screwed by my own family members. And that sucks. I'm like, well, I'm not calling you back. No, because what you did was wrong, and I'm right, and no. Anyone been there? They're wrong, I'm right. Anybody? And they're like, they're on, but who is it destroying? Me. And I toiled in it, and I toiled in it, and I woke up one day, and I said to my wife, I'm going to make a phone call, and I'm going to ask for forgiveness for whatever I've done. And I'm telling you, folks, it was tough to get there. But once I got there, what I was able for me to do, I was able to remove that bear of anger. And I was able to advance. And now it gave me the fortitude and the opportunity to stand on this stage and say, let me tell you about that bear of anger. I bear the scars of it so that others like yourself here today can move forward. Because in this room of great business leaders, there's a greater mountaintop for you. But if you can't get past that bear, you'll never experience it. You'll do two things. You will run away, or you will get mauled by the same habit and going, why do I keep doing this? Why does this keep happening? Why am I not advancing towards the voice that sits inside my heart? That is why I'm here. So my question is, do you have the courage? You see, when you put this together, and I go back to the very first tool I shared with you about the law of subtraction, you begin to remove friends, you begin to remove bad habits. Those begin to shift away, and new ones get implanted, and guess what you begin to tell the world? You're like, this is my new standard. This is Jason Jenkins now. Remember that soft guy I told you about, August 2010? I'm telling you, he was soft. You could come up, I was like, hey, I'm kind of out of shape. I was like the first guy at the bar, last to leave. I was out front. Yeah, here we go. And on August 10th, I just started doing hard things in my life. No pun intended. Some of you have heard of 75 hard, right? So I told the world, I was like, there's a new JJ coming to town. Yeah, he's coming. And so my colleagues, like where I work right now, we're the chief sales officer of a really big financial firm. And so I told the executive team, and they were like, oh yeah, well, he's got a goal. We'll see you on day 76, Jason, back at the bar. Because they were like, hey, like, he's really doing this thing, drinking a lot of water, eating kale. Why is he walking around in the snow? And that whole fun stuff. And day 76 came, and guess what happened? Same thing. Day 77, same thing. And so what they thought was going to break, they now shifted the efforts on, well, what if we just make fun of him? So they started making fun of me. And I was like, oh, this is a great compliment. This is awesome. So glad we're making fun of Jason. And as that began to move over time, guess what shifted? Hey, can I talk to you real quick? What are you doing? Because as I began to shed the things that didn't belong and implant the things that did, here's what happened from a professional standpoint. I was sharper than ever. Yeah. I was rolling into, I just spent 3 days in an executive meeting. My CEO literally was like, I don't know what's going on, but your game is just coming to a different level. My contribution was great. My wife went from, oh, I love him, to like, yeah, that's my man. That's my man.
Oh.
And my kids, sorry, they began to emulate it. My kids were like, I'm going to the gym. Hey, I'm putting this sugar down. My daughter, I got 2 kids, son, college, daughter, senior. And when she compares her boyfriend Joe to this guy. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. But you see, I can't give something I don't possess. You cannot give something that you don't possess. So you have to go get it first in order to do what, folks? To give it away. It's just a simple law principle. Because if you're trying to do that, I'm sorry to be direct and maybe hurt your feelings, you're a fraud. Because I was a fraud at that time. I was not living what I was called to be. And I hope some of you in this room that strikes you. I hope it does. You're like, yeah, I'm not living up to what that person is. Folks, what's your standard? Your standard is what you're willing to tolerate. It's that simple. You have to remove the things first, plug in, and begin to tell the world, this is who I am. The second, I talked about regret and gratitude. So when you begin to do that, you exercise that muscle, guess what you develop? You develop habits. And these habits begin to show up. And they begin to do this beautiful thing. They begin to change you. They begin to change your environment. You begin to radiate what others will ultimately want. And the third thing I talked about was courage. You plant your flag. You demonstrate it daily. And when you have courage, guess what happens, folks? You end up getting results. The results that who wants? What you want. What you ultimately want. Because you don't even have to raise your hand for me, because every hand would go up. Nobody in this room is sitting at that mountaintop that they truly, honestly desire. Because you know you're being called to more. In some capacity, physically, your business, spiritual, I don't know what it is. That's for you to have that conversation. But I promise you, it's this right here. So this is how you fight your bear. It's standards plus habits equal results. I don't care what it is. Think about it. You're not happy with the way you're physically doing? Well, there's your result. All I have to do is examine your habits. You're probably doing a little too much of this and probably not enough of this. Hey, I'm really not happy with my relationship. Probably doing a little too much of this and what? Not enough of this. And the standard, I want to repeat it again, it's what you're willing to tolerate. It's what you're willing to tolerate. I truly believe we were all designed for greatness. That's not a motivational speech. Please hear me on this. It's not. It's me coming to you, being very sincere, that we were designed with certain gifts. We just got to see that happen with this guitar, didn't we? Yeah. Everyone in this room has been given a gift and a calling to it. I've been to all the conferences, I've heard amazing speakers, and I'm humbled to even remotely share the stage with two icons that are going to follow me. But if we're going to be real for a second, that's what I'm doing, then we have to examine this. Because I can't give you something I don't possess. So my question to everybody in this room that's listening is this. What's your bear? That's my question. What is your bear right now that you know that's holding you back? You see, until you take your last breath, there will always be a bear. Well, my question is, do you really have the courage right this second to write that down? Do you have the courage right this second to recognize this is what stands in the way of it? Do you? Because what I hope, and this is the reason I'm here when Nathan asked, was, is this your day? Just like August 10th of 2020 was my day, is January 12th of 2024 the day in your personal timeline that you will be able to look back, just like myself, and say, that was the day. That was the day that I began to step into the person that I was called to. And when I walk out these doors, my heart of compassion, I need to go ask for forgiveness. You know what? I need to stop being lazy. I need to do and execute what's called. And I can tell I've been doing this long enough. There's a couple of you in this room. Today's your day. Today's your day. And I want you to know I'm here for you. And again, that, turning 49 and a half years of age, and as I reflect, I wish somebody would have hammered this into me when I was younger. And I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to find it and to listen and to have the courage, because now, because of those sacrifices that I've made on a daily basis, not just my family and my friends, but my colleagues, and I'm excited. I literally feel at 49 and a half like I feel like I'm just getting started. Because let me tell you about, if you don't want to meet your bear, can I tell you about my current bear? My current bear, when I see that, this might surprise you, as a bear of comforts. Professionally, I'm in a great spot. I'm in an amazing spot. And I stand on this peak, and all of a sudden, about a year and a half ago, my faith is important, so I hope I don't offend anybody here, but God just said, hey, Jason, you know, great job. There's a lot of lessons. But you see that mountaintop way over there? That's where I actually need you to go. So you're going to have to leave your little comfort zone, a lot of money and a lot of this and a lot of that, because what's on the heart. So I'm going to walk back down to go walk back up. And I couldn't be more excited. Now, if I'm being honest, is it a little scary? Like, yeah, I don't quite know. But do you know what I do know? I know this Jason Jenkins today. Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. That ain't going to be nothing. Right. Thank you. And my hope is there's just one or two of you in this room are ready for that. That's my desire. That is my desire. So take today serious. Don't let this just be another day. Don't let it pass. As I speak, I hope your heart is like, yeah, hey, I'm crushing it, Jason. Well, congratulations. But I know there's a bear that sits deep inside. Don't run from him. Smile at it. Like, there's times like, I'm a little crazy. Like, now I'm at the gym and I'm like pushing through this stuff. I'm like, oh, there you are. I got you. Like, people are like, why is he talking to like the air? You know what I mean? You know, like my bear shows up. Or something happens where I need to do something more. And I literally now physically smile at him. I'm like, okay, you're pissing me off. Like, let's go. In a good way. Because now I get to realize, okay, who is that Jason? So last time, I hope it's you. I hope it's you. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. I appreciate it, and I'm going to be around. So if you want to talk about it, and if this strikes anybody, DM me on Instagram. I want to hear your story, and I want to connect with you. I'm being very sincere when I make the comment. Hear me? I'm here. I'm not joking around. I'm here to help. So you guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it.